Welcome to the Mind of Steele, a semi-regular featurette presented by me, Reynard Wilson. This is the show where we get to delve into the thoughts and the inspiration that Mark Steele provides us all. And today's lesson was found on the important and highly educational website BitChute. It's from a video entitled Brit hero whistleblower Mark Anthony Steele rejects attempted assassination by fascist Crown agents. With a title like that, I'm sure it's certain to be exciting, and at least 12 other people on the internet also agreed, because this video was rescued from Mark's deleted YouTube channel by a very helpful BitChute user called Illuminati Socrates. Well, thank you, Mr. Socrates. You've done us all a great favour, because without your archival duties, this perfect video would have been lost to all time.
This is a scientific document that shows that the microwave radiation emitted from these transmitters is unsafe. It's unsafe to humans. Read that, all right? So there's no misinformation here. This is not Mark Steele's work. This is one of the top scientists in the world.
Mark's got himself a printout of a paper by Emeritus Professor Martin L. Paul. It's an opinion paper. It doesn't actually describe any original research or any new discovery. It's simply the former professor's opinion of the dangers of certain types of radiation. So you might say that really it counts for nothing towards the consensus of what the dangers of radiation might actually be. It's just one man's opinion. And it happens to be one man's opinion that Mark just agrees with.
And in breach of humanitarian laws, the levels we're measuring in people's bedroom windows are in breach of the Council of Europe levels stated in the 1815 resolution. That was in 2011. This is a law as low as reasonably achievable. This is the Council of Europe resolution.
Not a good start to Mark's video, because he seems to be confused about the Council of Europe. This is not a legislative body. They don't pass laws. They just write model legislation, which could be adopted or rejected by various parliaments or the European Union. In this case, it was not adopted. So the thing that Mark is pointing to and claiming that the 5G transmitter is breaching is not actually a law. Even if it was a law, I don't even think it would be a breach. I don't think actually Mark understands what he's reading.
Right, and here we go. This is what I've brought the attention of Gated Council. The manufacturer says that's not safe at several metres to a human. That is absolutely illegal, unlawful. Manufacturer even says that's dangerous. Gated Council are ignoring it. So they're ignoring this crime. The fact that I'm trying to bring it to the public's attention.
Can you imagine how confusing it must have been to be a member of Gateshead Council, to have a man come to you with sort of scrawled photographs of lampposts claiming that they are a part of a deadly 5G kill grid, when we all know that the thing that Mark Steele is drawing our attention to is just the antenna for the control system that switches the lights on and off. That's literally all it is. But Mark has got this notion fixed into his mind that the control system is a deadly scanning urban radar array, and that it has the potential to vaporize you.
Right, and the reason why they brought this out was because of the massive increase in head cancers from this type of radiation. These transmitters have been put out outside people's homes. This will reduce the property values. We've only just found out today that estate agents have to now check telecoms transmitters outside of people's homes. We have one. There it is.
Is this about a deadly 5G kill grid? Or is this just about Mark's property price? He's really confusing me, because for a brave whistleblower, he seems far more concerned about the latter than the former.
That is a telecoms transmitter at 25 milliwatt. It's very powerful. So now your home is going to be reduced in price significantly. The value of my property is now just being devalued significantly because these criminals at Gateshead Council have rolled these transmitters out. This will make up part of the assessment of the value of your home.
So much of Mark's paranoia can be explained by his failure to pay attention in school. In this case, I think he's confused by the difference between milliwatts and megawatts. A transmitter that puts out 25 milliwatts really isn't putting out much power at all. That's the level of power consumption of a handheld, battery-operated remote control. When you're changing channels, it's really not much power at all. But imagine if your remote control was putting out a signal that was 25 megawatts. Now that really would be a thing to complain about, because simply changing channels would probably cause your entire home to spontaneously combust. A remote control that put out a 25 megawatt signal every time you wanted to switch over to Sky Sports would that would be a dangerous energy weapon indeed. Maybe a directed energy weapon, the kind of thing that Mark is concerned about. So deep down, Mark is worried about this tiny little electronic device because he's got his understanding of power levels is out by a factor of approximately 1 billion.
So these transmitters on the top of these lights are extremely dangerous. What I think's been attempted, I'm not sure about what's been attempted, but some sort of gagging order, because what they don't like is the freedom of speech.
Wouldn't it be terrible if Mark were prevented from telling the world about the 5G death grid lamp posts, one of which he believes is 50 meters from the front door of his own house? Please, Mark, tell us that you have a plan to deal with this terrible eventuality.
Those men didn't die and fight on the battlefield of Germany, right, and in Europe, right, so that we could suffer this type of criminal enterprise. The administration of a noxious substance from those transmitters is a crime. It's a criminal offence to administer a noxious substance. I know that. These are most certainly criminal offences, right?
Okay, so I lied. He wasn't about to take any kind of action. What he was about to do was ramble incoherently about men who lost their lives in the Second World War and make an entirely inappropriate link to whatever it is that was bothering him at the time. Sorry, guys, but please just keep listening. Maybe he will say something a little bit more sensible next.
Right. Now, this notice of trespass applies to anybody putting anything in this mailbox, right, if they have not got my consent, right? Now, the only way they can get that, after knock on the door, they have to call me, and I will charge a £10,000 fee for that, right? If anybody puts anything in this letterbox without my permission, right, apart from, as it says, limitations, Royal Mail. So I'm going to post this up. I want everybody to share it. This is how these corporations use the law, right, to try and, what I believe to be, gag people, bully and abrade, and try and intimidate people. Well, this is the law.
Mark thinks that if anybody tries to serve some kind of legal notice on him, such as a court summons or some kind of legal document delivered by any means other than the Royal Mail, that he's going to force them to enter into a contract which will oblige them to pay £10,000. It's an audacious plan. It's out there. It's doomed to failure. It's one of the maddest things I've ever heard Mark say, and he mostly says completely mad things.
Need to get this out. Everybody share it. This is the criminal activity that's going on from these corporatocracies, right, where they're just outside of the rule of law. We need to bring the law back. Save us now. Join the resistance. Save us now.
And there we shall leave Mark, standing outside his home, on a street corner in Gateshead, waving his fists angrily at a lamp post. And I shall see you soon for the next instalment of Mind of Steele.